The first contest of the season was the drag race to turn 1.
It's a Mustang showdown to turn 1. John Bow with a remodeled car. He damaged this Sparks in first practice, but it's still going quickly.
Look at that, there's cars going everywhere. The field spreads, you've got V8s, you've got 6 cylinders, Porsches, Toranas, Monaros, Camaros. There's a list of them all along.
And there's 3 different classes of car within this race. Group 1, Group 2 and Group 3. The big cars obviously are running up front. Bow leads, Buller second. Then it's Jim Richards, Brad Tilley in that big green Falcon. Steve Mason's locked in there as well. And Tony Edwards in the HQ Monaro. It's really V8s at the front.
Oh, it is, absolutely. You've got the big 6-litre Mustangs out in front. Jimmy Richards, he's in the Falcon Sprint. It's a fiberglass-bodied car, only up to the 5-litre engine. So whilst this car doesn't have the outright power of these big Falcons and Mustangs, it's just as quick around the circuit.
And the big advantage it has, it's much lighter than the Mustangs it's racing, and it's got a 7-time Bathurst winner behind the wheel.
The battle lines soon became apparent.
Steve Mason in the Camaro being chased by Tony Edwards, and Andrew Medicki in the car that's owned by Bob Middleton, a local racer who's looking to run a Chef Camaro later in the season. And Andrew is driving like he's never been away.
Oh, this is great stuff, isn't it? Some of these legend guys in legend cars, and they're really pushing each other hard. These Camaros chasing down the big Fords. It's really good action to see.
Brad Tilley, that fantastic big GT Falcon. Medicki trying to get a move on Steve Mason.
Meso's the next champion, as we can see now. Bullis really putting some pressure on JB here. And look at those wrinkles on the front of Bullis up the inside.
And these boys race for keeps. Bullis, the 2-time series champ, is down the inside, and it's Mustang versus Mustang. Right-hand drive with Bullis, left-hand drive with Bow, and Bullis takes the lead.
Now, JB's not going to give this up, though. He's actually pushing hard through the chicane. Go up the inside. No, he's going to get out of early.
You'd think for a bloke who's just bought this car, he'd treat it with a bit more respect.
Then 1 lap later,
Bow putting the pressure on down to turn 4. Jimmy Richards still keeping a watchful brief in third spot. Bullis runs deep and gives away the lead.
These guys are pushing hard. They're working those brakes hard. Bullis has just run out a little bit wide.
there were some tight tussles further down the order.
Graham Alexander in the big Monaro fighting off Bill Pye in the ex-John Bow Camaro. Then you've got Alistair McLean. But the guy that I want to see is behind them. Bernie Stack in the Group 2 Porsche. He's taking on the big guns.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see these cars moving around on the back of the tyre. They're quite heavy. The little Porsche, it's sort of not working the tyre as hard. It's now putting pressure on these big V8s. As Bill Pye, he sort of really struggles a bit there, getting on the power. It's put McLean right up in behind him. So this little battle going on in the midfield's fantastic.
Last year's Group 2 winner wasn't having it all his own way.
Trevor Talbot, the XU1 Tirana, just doesn't have the pace at the moment to go with Bernie Stack in the Porsche, but doing a strong job.
Yeah, Trevor Talbot, experienced Tirana guy, that little six-cylinder, working hard to keep Mark King in that V8 HQ out. So it's a really good battle, and Talbot certainly got his work cut out for him.
John Bow was forced to relinquish the lead.
Problems for Bow on pit straight. There's smoke from the Mustang. Bullis goes through. Jim Richards in the Shannon's Falcon takes second, and JB's in limp mode.
He is, and it's obviously on the engine. The car's still running. Could be a gearbox, power steering leak, something like that.
The lone female in the field was coming to grips with her new car.
Leanne Tander behind the wheel of this big, mighty XA GT V8. They've had not much testing with this car, but it's rolling along quite well.
Many people in the day wanted to see this car race back in the early 70s, the Phase 4 Falcon, so it finally gets its debut with the Tander.
Gavin Bullis had to constantly check his mirrors.
So whilst Jimmy hasn't got the outright speed, the outright horsepower, as the race comes on, Jimmy's car livens up.
And it doesn't use the tyres up as much. It's a little bit lighter than the likes of the Mustangs and the Camaros. And JR is driving this thing within an inch of its life. He has a look at turn 9. There's a bit of lap traffic to deal with too.
And Bullis has been defensive as well, so this is really going to come down to the final part of this race.
And Brad Tilley and Andrew Medicki, third and fourth. Medicki's wide, and Steve Mason is as well.
It's a great battle. It's going to go all the way to the wire, so we get around that escort. Yes, we do. Obviously into that last corner. Can Jimmy slip up the inside?
Philip Showers did a great job there to get out of the way. Bullis covers at turn 14. He's in the mirror to check where Jimmy is. All he's got to do now is get the Mustang to the checkered flag, and he'll do it. The two-time Touring Car Masters champion begins 2010 with a victory. Bullers home from Jim Richards. Tilly in third. Tony Edwards a great drive in sixth. Bernie Stack takes Group 2. And Trevor Talbot rounds out the top 10.
This track's extremely hard. I mean, as you know, every year you come here, there's always someone trying to knock you off and bounce you off the walls and things. But it's a tough track. It's hot out there, and the walls are really close, and they're all concrete. So there's no room for any mistakes, and you just got to stay on it. So concentration's the biggest thing.
In race 2, the top cars on the grid were reversed, which meant lap 1 was going to be action-packed.
It's David versus Goliath. Bernie Stack in the Porsche 911 gets a great jump with the rear-engine car, but Alistair McLean's Camaro's got too much grunt.
Yeah, can Bernie stay on the outside? No, it's going to be Alistair McLean, but look at this action through the first corner.
McLean is the leader. Bernie Stack, the Group 2 Porsche, sits in second. We ride with Gavin Bullis, the race 1 winner, going down the outside on Tony Edwards in that fantastic Monaro. But McLean leads, Maniki second, Stack is third, then it's Brad Tilley. But Gavin Bullis, reverse grid race, not mucking around.
No, and they're side by side through this whole section, so it's great racing. Obviously, he's got to work hard.
Whoa, Steve Mason.
I was going to say Maso's going to go in the door there, but Gavin gave him some room, and here comes Jimmy Richards down the fence as well, so going 3 wide down to turn 8 on lap 1.
This is great stuff from the Touring Car Masters. Look at Maniki pressuring for the lead, and Jim Richards is doing the same. Look at this big pack as they run down towards turn 9. And Bullis going for the big move down the inside on Tony Edwards, but he's lucky not to end up in the fence.
He was pressing hard on that brake pedal, wasn't he? It wasn't stopping. That's trying to pull that big heavy Mustang up.
A few laps later, the race became a dogfight.
Now, John Bow started 17th after those problems in race 1. He passed 7 cars on the first lap, and he's already caught Bullis.
He's not mucking around, is he, JB? He's putting a lot of pressure on here, so he can sniff the lead of the race. He wants to have a crack.
Must be something about getting that old number 18 back.
Look at this. He's got a bit of a run on Bullis now. Will he look to the inside?
Oh, Brad Tilley. Look, the rears. And somehow didn't wipe out Alistair McLean or himself.
Oh, the car's going everywhere here. We've got JB on the inside, Tilly sideways. It's all action.
Oh, but Bugs, doesn't this bring back the great memories of Norm Beachy and Bob Jane and Alan Moffat, Pete Gagan? This is great stuff.
I wasn't born, but I reckon it's fantastic. So what we got here is obviously Bullis is now going to try and put some...
Left front problem with Bullis's car.
A bit of contact there, so it's rubbing on the guard as JB sneaks up the inside.
That was the dive bomb from JB. Oh, big problem, Bullis.
And Jimmy goes through as well.
Yeah, Jimmy's got him as well, so he's in problems. Brad Tilley under fire from Bow in the Mustang. Andrew Maniki in the Cat Camaro has sprinted away, so the Fords are squabbling over the minors.
And JB looks to the inside, so he's managed to go deep.
Brad
Tilley's
Tilley
struggling. JB's too deep.
Oh, this is great stuff.
So he lost the spot. He's got the spot back now. So can Tilley hold out Johnny Bow?
Bow has another look. The Mustang probing at the run at turn 7. He's got a better run here, but this Falcon has got so much mumbo. Have a look at the grunt of this thing.
Falcon versus Mustang, 6-litre Ford V8. This is fantastic.
Someone's got to give, and it's John Bow, who will now have a run at turn 9 until he knows it. He's across to cover the line.
So he's defending, obviously. JB's going to have to go the long way around. Side-by-side action, and he does it. He stays out the outside. That's a great manoeuvre by JB.
Nigel Benson was having a race to remember.
Oh, the South Australian in the Monaro goes around at turn 7. Has had a dramatic weekend, misqualifying when it broke a top arm on the diff in practice. And that's Benson again. And then accident of Jason Humble, who's a brave man in a little car in such a big field.
Look at that.
And there was more frustration through the field.
The Group 2 Porsches of Graham Cook. Oh, John Nelson with one another, although Ian McAllister gets the Mustang in the mix.
Yeah, a bit of a turnaround there.
Oh, problem for Leanne Tanner. She stalled on the grid. And now the engine has let go in the Wilson Security Falcon.
Brad Tilley was copping it from all directions.
Now Tilley's got to deal with Jim Richards going around the outside. And this is perfect for Richo because he's on the inside for the next left-hander. And Steve Mason's charging as well.
Yeah, so Jimmy Richards obviously seen John Bower do the same manoeuvre.
And the fight for third is on. Richards, Tilly, Mason and Gavin Bullis. Look at Mason. Oh, big late move. And the Chevy's got the deal done. But Andrew Maniki is untouched. Out in front, the West Track Cat Camaro has driven away with this one. His young son George has been establishing his career in the last few years, but Andrew's back behind the wheel and back in winner's circle. Andrew Maniki takes race 2 of the Touring Car Masters and takes it by 4 seconds over John Bower. Again, Bernie Stack wins Group 2 in the Porsche, and Graham Alexander takes the Monaro to 10th.
Brad, you were certainly giving it a go in that race. Sideways, a lot of the time, there's not a mark on it. How did you do it?
I don't know, really. I just, that's the way I actually like to drive. That's my style. And whenever you've got a reverse top 8, I think it's always going to be a good lot of action, really. Yeah.
Is there anyone that you see coming in the rear vision mirrors that you really don't want to let through?
Yeah, probably John Bower, and I made it as hard for him as I could.
It's the final race of the weekend. Jim Richards on the left, Andrew Maniki on the right. But look for Brad Tilley, the big green Falcon, makes a fly, but he's got nowhere to go.
He's got nowhere to go, but Jimmy just inches away there from Badecki, so Jimmy will go around the outside of Badecki, lead through the first part of the chicane. Badecki's coming back, and in there is Gavin Bullis as well.
Look at the mixture. The Porsches are in among there, the Group 2 cars as well. Maniki leads, Richard second, Bullis third. Then it's Tilley and Mason, McLean, John Bower. There's Bill Pye. Trevor Talbot, the XU1 Tirana, has had a tough weekend. The question is here, Barks, which car do you want to be in?
Oh, look, it'd be fantastic being him, wouldn't it really? But you've got to say that Gavin Bullis' car looks very strong at the moment, and he's going to start putting a lot of pressure on Jimmy. But JB is recovering from obviously that race 1 where he had that power steering problem. So he's got a bit of work to do, but I'm sure he'll find his way through to the end.
Alistair McLean is in front from Echuca on the Murray River. He's got the 68 Camaro hooking, brand new engine for this year. But JB's equal to the task and gets the job done.
Yeah, another spot there for JB. And Edwards very close to the back of the Camaro McLean there. So good racing, guys.
In the final race of the weekend, the leading Group 3 cars were putting on a show for the crowd.
George Nittis in the big Falcon under the gun from Philip Showers in the little Ford Escort. This is real David and Goliath stuff. This Escort running in Group 3 for the under 2 litre cars. It's mixing it up with the big Falcon.
It is, and there's Jason Humble just ahead in the little Datsun. So it's a great battle, these 4-cylinder cars. They're really putting on a show. The crowd love this stuff.
The Falcon blasts by the Datsun before turn 8. But check out turn 9. The Datsun will be straight back up the inside. Here it goes.
Datsun's on the power early, so and he's around the outside. Look at the braking difference there of these cars.
Then on the last lap,
Humble having a look down the inside. He's filling in for regular driver Cam Mason. But the big boys, the leaders are coming through. Oh, this could be good.
Yeah, let's just get out of the way. Here they come. Obviously, they're going to catch this group of cars. They're all fighting position. The leader of the race, Bullis, is in there as well. So you got Badecki just keeping a very tight line. JB around the outside.
And now he's on. He's boxed in by George Nittis' car, but he manages to get the spot. Good stuff. And now it's a clean fight to the finish. Half a lap to go in race 3. Maniki's got his nose in front. Richards is second. Bow and Bullis. So it's Ford products second, third and fourth. The GM thing is leading the way.
It is, and it's not about just looking after the tyres, looking after the brakes. It's about reading the traffic as well, and JB's done a great job. He's up on the podium now.
They've done a great job with this category in recent years. They've allowed, obviously, more modern equipment in terms of safety and performance elements to these cars, but they turn on racing just as good as back in the day. Bullis is so deep under brakes, he's pushed JB on the curb, who returns the serve too.
Yeah, exactly, so there's no room out there for gentlemanly racing, is it? It's on and pushing really hard, so with Badecki, Richards and Bow sounds like the 1992 car championship, doesn't it?
And back then, 2 decades ago, it was Richo who won that championship, but Maniki is starting 2010 in great form, a winner in race 2, and the West Track Cat Camaro is going to get the job done. Look at the fans in the stands. They love this racing, and so do we. Maniki takes race 3. Jimmy Richards second. John Bow in third. Bullis in fourth. This category is awesome.
What great racing. It's good to see these big Falcons and Mustangs fighting it out.
Brad Tilley in 5th. Bernie Stack cleans up in Group 2 for the weekend. And Steve Makarios, the big Falcon, rounds out the top 10.